Howdy, 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 my name is Anashi Sasuke, and welcome to Belladonna. Okay, so, from what I saw about this game before I got it, it's about some people raising someone from the dead. You're playing as who was raised from the dead and trying to find out what went on. That's all I know, and that blink thing is freaking me out. Let's start. There were no options, so I don't know if it's going to have actual speaking, and if there is, I wasn't really able to turn on subtitles. Yeah. I got this from a horror games bundle, so if it's not scary, then I don't know. At the very least, it's going to be weird. I don't think that's how you make a monster there, Mr. Frankenstein.
Oh, sensation. Pain? I'm alive? That's odd. I don't feel alive. What's going on? I have no memories of anything before this point in time. My mind is tabula rasa, yet I have a language. I seem to be in some laboratory of sorts. Maybe I can find out what happened if I look around.
Is this it's a point and click. Okay, let's see.
My very first memory is waking up on this thing. Before that, nothing. I wonder what I am.
Well, you seem to have a clock sticking out of your face.
A torture device turned into a strange machine. What kind of place is this?
Well, it looks like a mad laboratory. Hey, a journal. And she's really good at walking in heels.
There's a handwritten note here. Maybe it can shed some light on my situation.
Let's find out. Wolfram von Trasserlos. It is with shaking hands and heavy heartbeats I gather before me the instruments of my last, desperate attempt. I find myself on the threshold of my toils, a turning point, for should I fail tonight, I doubt I shall find the strength and resolve to continue. At my feet now lays the lifeless remains of my beautiful Belladonna. A few hours ago my wife was alive and well, and now she has been cut open, dissected, altered, and artificially reconstructed. From the second she gave up her final breath, I have worked tirelessly to preserve and prepare her corpus, that I might infuse a spark of being back into her lifeless limbs. This is the final test of all of my research and experimentation the past 5 years, the complete revivification of a human being, body, and soul. The anxiety I feel is agonizing, but I cannot let it hinder me from carrying out what I must do. For my own sake, and for hers, this procedure must not fail. In my feverish dreams, my wife appears as such a lovely creature, so far removed from this creation before me. Her cheeks, once so full of laughter, are now pale almost to the point of transparency, with the skin stretched so thin over the cranium it threatens to rip at any moment. Her eyes would shine like the night sky, but are now empty, watery, and yellowish. I have to cling to my conviction that she will regain her former grace and vitality once she is brought back to the realm of the living. Her eyes will light up with the flame of life, a Promethean flame stolen from the very gods. From this night on, man shall be the master of his own destiny, and God shall no longer be above us. As I write, the engines of life are finally heating up, the last of the preparations coming into order. The crucial moment is ever approaching. The time has come. Success! The attempt was a success! She is alive! Oh, okay, there's going to be more journals. So how do you feel about this?
Books. A lot of natural philosophy and chemistry. Something by an M.W. Shelley.
Well, they certainly went there. Hey, a brain! Let's see. A skull.
A human skull or a paperweight.
Yes.
It's a brain in a jar. I wonder what it's thinking.
I don't think it's thinking there, dear.
There's a screwdriver in this toolbox. Better take it.
A tank.
I have no idea what's inside of this, but it glows.
Ooh. Oh, a gargoyle. What's happening?
That is one ugly gargoyle. Looks like a George to me.
You sound more like a kid than his wife. Vial of oil.
This oil looks expensive. Let's waste it.
What? Okay, so her voice is adorable, I'll give it that.
Now is not the time.
What do you mean? Now's the perfect time! Now is absolutely the perfect time to pull the lever.
Now is not the time.
Okay, fine. Oh, a galvanic experiment.
It looks like the legs of a frog hooked up with wires. And I'm pretty sure it moves when I'm not watching.
Take
I
the
love
magnet.
magnets.
Are you gonna take it? Yeah. Oh, a bone saw. Bone saw,
Ooh,
McGraw!
surgical tools. Shiny.
What's it? Okay, cool. I have a bone saw, McGraw. Is there anything else in here? Let's see. I keep finding point-and-click adventures, and they just get more and more fun. Why is it taking me so long to play these? Okay, let's see if we can...
I need something else. That makes no sense.
Fair enough.
Interesting, but no. That won't work. Interesting, but no.
I'm trying to put it down! Okay.
The door won't budge. It seems to be barred from the other side.
Makes sense.
I might be able to unscrew these hinges, though.
Why not use the screwdriver? Wherever they are.
The screws on these hinges are rusty and stuck. I need some lubricant to loosen them up.
Probably the magnet.
I smeared some oil on the rusty screws. That should loosen them up.
Oh my.
I'm free.
Oh hey. How you doing?
What a dedicated knight to guard a damp dungeon like this. Maybe he was demoted. Maybe he likes the dark. Maybe he's secretly a poet. I bet his name is Roland.
Was that a Stephen King joke? Oh, another journal page.
Another piece of paper. This was written long before the last one.
Work is going great. Kept a rat alive for 1 hour and 26 minutes last night. We'll move on to larger mammals within the week. I find my life more and more polarized into two phases. I remember times when I used to climb up and down the stairs like a squirrel each day, but now I spend most of my time, and indeed most of my thoughts, down here in my laboratory, only to step upstairs at night to sleep. It is warmer upstairs in the living area, but it is boring and understimulating. Down here is where I make my progress. Down here is what matters, and as I lay awake beside my sleeping wife, I often wish I was down here with my experiments. Belladonna grows increasingly distant. Ever since that fateful night when our baby Lucas gave up his last breath, she has lost all traces of her old self. God knows what she is thinking about as she silently gazes into the empty air, or restlessly paces back and forth in the great hall. I, at least, am working with my grief. I have turned my attention to the science of life and death, and not a day goes by when I do not think of how my son was untimely taken from me. This is the thought that drives me in this, the greatest of ambitions. My own son will never return. I have accepted that now. But thanks to me and my work, the cold, ruthless contrast between living and dead will in the future be much softer, maybe even completely erased. My wife, though, has let our grief devour her whole. She is emotionally and intellectually paralyzed, it seems to me. All her creativity and quickness of thought, the wittiness of her speech, and the nimble way she used to jump from one conclusion to the next, all those qualities that made me fall in love with her in the first place, they have all been snuffed out like the flame of a candle. This makes me wonder even more why I bother to go up to her bed every night. The shell in which she has enclosed herself cannot be breached by anything I say or do. It is almost as though she is involved with someone other than me. I feel ridiculous for even writing it down. No! It seems ludicrous to think that Belladonna's disinterest in me is due to her seeing another man. I will not accuse her of that. It is just one of the many strange ideas that seems to appear in my head when I am down here by myself. I'm probably just tired. I'd better try and get some sleep as soon as this rat's heart stops beating. You wacky weirdo. See now. Okay, that was worth a shot. What the hell was that? Okay. Hey, stick! Take the stick.
There's a long stick here.
Yeah!
Perhaps it was used to try to chase away rats when trying to sleep. It looks like someone has been sleeping quite a lot in this sorry excuse for a bed, and it was hardly the suit of armor. But why would someone choose to sleep down here?
Because you died! Oh hey, another piece of paper.
More writings from the lonely doctor.
Doctor? Curse my miserable existence, the hopelessness from which I see no conceivable escape. I cannot rid myself of the feeling that there is something of utmost importance that I need to take care of, but that it is not yet time. That something beyond my control needs to be completed first. I carry inside me a sensation of waiting, yet I cannot name the thing I am waiting for. In the meantime, all I can do is work. I do make progress, but at an excruciatingly slow rate, and nothing I accomplish seems to calm the anxiety in my head. I sleep only a few hours every night and cannot remember my last hot meal. I am feverish and jump at the smallest of sounds. What is it that I'm missing? I'm spending more and more time down here with my research. I only occasionally go upstairs to sleep in the master bedroom. Most nights I sleep, if at all, in a makeshift bunk I have constructed in the cellar. It is not as comfortable, but my research is at a point where it oftentimes requires my constant attention, and comfort is not my priority. I'm certain I am advancing even closer to a significant breakthrough, but as though I am powerless to control or even affect the rate of its occurrence. And on top of this, I cannot rid my mind of the idea that Belladonna has forgotten me and taken a new lover, a new man in her life, someone more lively than me, perhaps? Someone who can still look at life with joy and optimism to match her own by grave tragedy, unaffected humor. Yet, who would that be? I can remember friends we used to have. In my memory, our wedding was a crowded and festive event, but it has been years since this castle has seen any visitors. I have no time for social obligations, and Belladonna seems to have given up on everything that is pleasant in life. I suspect the castle is in an undesirable condition as well. Almost all of the staff has left us. We are down to one girl who dusts the cupboards and lights the fireplaces. But I don't see much of her either in these days. For all I know, she might be gone as well. There cannot possibly be a man in Belladonna's life apart from me. I wonder if this is the girl, then. Because she sounds way too young to have been a wife.
Another locked door. Let's take a peek through.
Okay. Oh hey, a key.
It's the key I'm after. I can't reach it with my hands.
Let's use the stick!
I wonder what I can invent to retrieve it.
Oh, let's see. Magnet, stick.
Look, I can attach the magnet to the end of this stick.
Hey! Hey, stop up, hey, yo, net, tsuba! Opa!
It's the key I'm after.
Shut
I
up.
can't reach it with my hands. I wonder what I can invent to retrieve it.
This stick.
Let's hope this works. Haha! Just as planned.
Aha!
I got the basement key.
Now let's get the hell out of here. Freedom! Oh, hey, another note.
More letters. Has he figured it out yet?
I see now that my suspicions have been well grounded, albeit aimed in the wrong direction. Belladonna is not seeing another man, she is seeing a woman. I am convinced that it must be the maid, Claire, or whatever her name might be. She and Belladonna are up to something, I'm sure of it! And to think all of the hours I'm stuck down here, caught up in my dreadful work, leaving them free to roam and left to their own devices upstairs. Of course they have found each other, only living things in this whole castle besides me and my week-long rabbits. They have it all figured out. When I come up at night, they act all innocent, keeping their mutual secret from me as a playful game, but as soon as I descend into the laboratory, they are in each other's arms again. But what can I do? The progression of events are beyond my control, just like my work. I slave away in my ghoulish endeavor, making progress every hour, but never getting anywhere. And simultaneously, Belladonna is slipping away from me further and further for every night, and yet nothing ever changes! Should I confront them? Storm up there, hoping to catch the two in the act? Take back the life that was mine? The wife that was mine? No. I have no reason for my silly suspicions, no evidence whatsoever, merely a thought stuck in my brain refusing to leave. So I remain passive as always, and each new day is one more where I am unable to make an action, unable to change my wretched situation. Let's pick up these cogwheels.
A couple of cogwheels on the floor. They must have fallen off the mechanism when the door slammed shut. I wonder if I can put them back.
We can certainly try. Let's see now. That one goes here.
Not yet.
Okay, fine. This one goes here. And then that one goes there. That go right.
Not yet.
What the? Okay, that one goes there. And now that one goes there. Open the door! He looks like a monkey a little bit.
The label says Dr. Wolfram von Trauerschloss. So this is the man who brings the dead back to life. He looks as though he would have been handsome once.
Mortar and pestle.
It's a mortar. And a pestle, too. They seem to belong here, but I'll remember where they are in case I need them another time. A big and heavy candlestick. It looks like there used to be 2 of them.
Oh, another one. There's 2 in this room.
The doctor is losing it. He's just scribbling down nonsense by now. What will he do if he ever acts on his wild suspicions?
It is clear to me what I must do. I am now convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that my wife is unfaithful. They still hide it very well, her and that housemaid, but my logical mind tells me there is no other explanation. For countless hours I have pondered the situation, and the more I think about it, the more certain I become that my judgment is correct. These countless hours are hours I could have spent thinking about my work. It is clear to me that I will never be able to fully concentrate on the puzzles at hand, as long as my thoughts keep creeping back to my wife and her new lover. This is the very reason that my research is progressing at such an agonizingly slow pace, so it is clear to me what I must do. Belladonna herself is the person that I want back into my life, so I cannot punish her. That leaves her lover, the young maid. She is unimportant, and it is she that must go. I could fire her and throw her out of the household, but I fear this would not resolve anything. The 2 of them would still know of each other, and they could write secret forbidden love letters or meet up at secluded rendezvous. No. It is clear to me what I must do. I must get rid of the maid for good. A plan is already taking form in my head. In the greenhouse out back I keep a lot of plants and herbs. One of the specimens I have is called Deadly Nightshade. An interesting plant with many medical uses, but its renown comes from the fact that its extract is lethal already in small doses. Preparing a powder from this poisonous plant is not at all problematic. Getting the victim to ingest the dose will be a challenge. But I expect to have ample opportunity. They are not aware I know the truth and thus suspect nothing. The maid will fall ill, and within a short time she will die of seemingly natural causes. No one will be the wiser concerning the true circumstances of her demise. Deadly Nightshade is merely the common name for the plant. Its scientific name is Atropa belladonna. The symmetry strikes me as beautiful. The poor girl strayed too close to the belladonna, and that would be the death of her. Let's see now. No, don't exit yet. Gotta get this other one.
This story is so sad. I don't even know if I want to read this one.
Too bad! My wife took the wayward maid's death harder than I had expected, further confirming my suspicions that they were indeed having a secretive love affair. She's passionate and irrational, raging all day and crying all night. Where a few months ago the cold shroud of silence lay over our house, now there's the wailing shrieks of bedlam. One should think that she would be used to dealing with the grief of lost loved ones by now. However, in all sincerity, I don't believe she was ever as affected by the death of our son as I was, our only son as I was. I also suspect that she might have guessed I had something to do with her lover's demise. If she wouldn't talk to me before, now she yells and barks at my every movement. I hardly leave my laboratory these days. I even have a small bed down here where I sleep the few hours when I'm not working. All the while she prowls around upstairs like a hungry tiger and attacks me over futile nitpicks as soon as I poke my head out. What happened to the love we shared when we married? We were going to live together in her inherited castle. We were going to have children together. Now all I get is abuse and a cold bed in the basement. All I want is for things to go back to the way they were before all of this. bowl.
A beautiful china bowl. It looks hand-painted. The name on the plaque is Lucas von Trauerschloss. This must be the ashes of Wolfram's son.
Probably. Oh.
A dead body.
I guess he shot himself?
It's the body of Dr. von Trauerschloss.
Oh, no, he didn't
He's
shoot
dead.
himself.
And what's more, he's been murdered.
Probably by his
Who could have
wife.
done this?
There
must be some clues around.
It was probably his wife.
The missing candlestick. And it seems to be the murder weapon. The back of his head has been cracked open by a heavy blow. He couldn't have seen the attack coming. He was dead before he knew what happened. So, he trusted his assailant then? Was it me? I have no memories from my life before. Maybe it was I who killed him. But then, how was I brought back? There's a letter clutched in his hand. His final words? Or a clue left by the killer.
Over the course of a sleepless night, I have thought through my next course of action from every possible angle, for it is indeed time for me to take action again. Even with the troublesome maid out of the way, I see little chance of getting my old Belladonna back. If anything, she is worse now than ever before. But I have an idea. One that kept me awake all night. I have come very far in my research by now. I can fairly predictably create living creatures that are stable enough not spontaneously die again. This is consistent through many different species of animal. I have noticed something peculiar though. The return creation seems strangely vacant and sluggish. It is as if, although the body is brought back to life, the soul is forever lost. The creation is perfectly functional, and responds to stimuli just as if it were truly alive, but the mysterious spark of will seems to be missing. I know no other way to describe the phenomenon. This bothered me before, but now I cannot help to think that this might suit my needs. Isn't it precisely the strong will of my wife that is causing all my problems? There's no need to be poetic with flowers this time. I am no short supply of lethal substances in the laboratory, and poison suits my needs well as it leaves no physical trauma on the body. I will still need to make incisions in the corpse to replace internal organs with clockwork parts, but stitching together surgical cuts is much simpler than trying to repair unhealed bodily damage. The integrity of her visage is a priority. To extinguish Belladonna's current life and give her a new one, to bring her body and mind back minus soul and free will, a beautiful, obedient automaton, a mechanical doll with all the functionality of a woman, but who is responsive and does what she's told, that, my dear future reader, would truly be something. I think it is high time I try my revivification process on a human subject. Let's see now. I guess that ticking is the plot.
This letter is signed Belladonna. I've been waiting to hear the other side of this story.
If you had asked me just a few years ago about my future, I could never have fathomed my life today would be as it is. So strange a path has the twists of fate set me upon that I wake every morning bewildered, and like a small child I expect anything and everything to happen during each new day. That night my planned future snapped out of joint and took a whole new direction was the night when my son Lucas died. I married Dr. Wolfram Trauerschloss in the spring, and we loved each other deeply back then. How young we were! He was an educated gentleman from the University of Ingolstadt, and I had at first assumed we would get a flat in Vienna. Instead, he had convinced me we should live in my family's old castle and accept our roles as old-fashioned nobility to the little village down the hill. We moved into the castle with a staff of 30 servants, beginning the task of breathing life and joy into the majestic halls. At this time, I expected to live out my life as the lady of the household, minding the servants and indeed raising children. But before long, our first son was born, and shortly after that, he once again departed. I was devastated, of course, but Lucas had been sickly from his first day, and even though my husband had blocked out the possibility from his mind, I was not entirely surprised when it happened. Nonetheless, it changed us. I believe Wolfram blames me for what happened, that he thinks it was somehow my fault. He's retreated into his laboratory in the old dungeon and started doing unholy experiments and God knows what. Those were dark times. Instead of a household and a child to take care of, I now had no guests, practically no husband, and no child. Everything I thought would occupy my time was gone, and all I could do was grieve in solitude. The castle staff left one by one until there were only a handful still here. My existence was meaningless, and I spent my days doing nothing. But I dealt with my grief in my own way, and in time the claws of melancholy began loosening their grip on me. In so many ways I have Clara to thank for that. Living room. Let's try the study. Is that Belladonna?
Another portrait. It says her name is Franziska Canosa, an old relative, no doubt. But I wonder how she relates to the von Trauerschloss family. A stuffed raven atop a bust of Pallas Athena. What a cheerful decoration. Let's call them Annabelle and Dupin. That's a lot of books. Imagine you had books filled with every possible combination of letters. I wonder how much room they would take. There's a finite amount of letters, but unless we acknowledge a maximum length of a word, there would still be an infinite number of combinations, and the library would have to be infinitely large.
What?
Look, a perfect sphere. Let's see if I can get two parallel lines to intersect. The doctor's handwriting. I know it well by now.
Months have passed, and I must indeed conclude that the procedure was a success. The new Belladonna is certainly calmer, friendlier, and more docile. She gladly keeps me company in the laboratory nowadays, and she is polite and pleasant in everything she does. One is tempted to describe her demeanor as lobotomized, but no! When I ask her questions, she will answer in a clear and articulated voice, and she is responsive to all kinds of stimuli. Verily, I have gotten all I could ask for. The troublesome maid is gone, and Belladonna is back with me, compliant as ever. Her behavior is exemplary. Our lives are returning to the idyllic past I thought I had lost in all aspects except one. No child giggles in these halls. But my research is proceeding rapidly, and the question presents itself: who needs a womb to create life? I have made an unexpected observation, a side effect of the unliving condition. The household cat, a black beast and once Belladonna's loving pet, has gained a great mistrust for the latter's new form. A disquiet has fallen over the animal, and he will not go near the creation. Why is this, I wonder? Why this lack of trust, this sudden and ferocious hatred? Belladonna's appearance seems to me not much unlike what the cat before so fondly gravitated towards, but evidently the beast perceives a difference. As a species, the cat has popularly been associated with witchcraft and mysticism. Their eyes do indeed strike one as remarkable. Is it perchance so that the feline oculus is capable of peering into a human soul and spirit? And so, when faced with the created Belladonna, is distressed by the lack thereof? Hey, a ladder.
I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if I want to proceed. I need something else. Nothing happens. I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if I want to proceed. Interesting, but no.
Okay, so we're not going to beat the cat. Toy collection.
Look at all these old toys. Wind-up dolls, music boxes, and mechanical trains all around. I think this used to be a private hobby of the eccentric Dr. Wolfram's, before he got into the whole corpse business.
A fair assumption.
I should sit down and write a story. But with all these journals and diary pages lying around, it seems like I already may have.
Okay, so let's go to the other room.
That's a lot of books.
And see if there's anything we can do about that cat. Oh hey, bloody journal page.
Another journal page. This one has drops of blood on it.
I, Belladonna, must think, remember. Hands, fingers, write with words. Words. Hate.
This room looks completely abandoned. I suppose this is what happens when you're down to a skeleton crew of only one maid, no matter how fantastic she is.
Grandfather clock.
It's an old clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Go to the backyard, dear.
Those are a lot of gargoyles. Leupold, Brunhilde, Arthur, Maya, Lena, Ismildor, Ether, and Yosef. In that order.
Let's see. Tombstones? Oh, hey, milk!
There's a bottle of milk out here. I wonder how long it's been here. At any rate, it's frozen completely solid. No wonder in this cold.
Journal page.
One more Belladonna letter. Let's read about this Clara figure.
Clara Steiber was one of the several chambermaids we hired when we moved into the castle shortly after the marriage. In the warm light of recent events, I feel as though I could pick her out of a crowd already at this time, but I suspect that the truth is she's just another servant one of many, and I didn't pay her close attention. I know now to the attention I know now she deserves. The time following the death of Lucas is hazy and unclear in my memory. I know I spent most of my time in an armchair in the living room, staring out the window. I know now that this must have been a difficult time for the staff as well. My apathy left them without purpose as more and more of the household was shut down. Soon the cooks and stable grooms began abandoning what they wisely identified as a sinking ship. As more and more of the staff left the castle to seek employment elsewhere, there was less and less reason for the rest to stay, and the household was quickly decimated. But throughout all of this, young Clara never left my side, and she gradually shouldered more and more of the household responsibilities, making it her task to take care of me and nurse me through my melancholy. It was her loyalty and industriousness when everyone else left that finally brought me back from my condition. And indeed, her love. As I now sit down to write, it has been a long, unbroken chain of happy days. Claire and I have the whole castle practically to ourselves and nothing to do but enjoy our lives and each other. We sleep in a new room every night, cook our own food, and have picnics under tables or in front of the fireplace. We have no incentive whatsoever to uphold convention and norms when this house has become like a secure pocket inside the rest of reality. In truth, this touches on what I treasure most in Clara. Neither of us reap any concrete benefits from our union, neither financial nor societal. There is no embedded purpose in producing heirs. Our relationship exists solely for itself and is its own reward. I am already adopting her adorable habit of naming inanimate objects. The castle is not quite ours, however. Wolfram still lurks like a ghoul downstairs and occasionally emerges and spends a night up here with me. We have little in common anymore. In fact, he is like a completely new person. His mind is vacant, his stare distant. He's thinner than ever before and shivers with cold. Clara jokingly suggested that we might have him declared mad and sent off to an institution. An innocent idea in her mind, but with some planning this act might eventually prove to be our surest path to finally reclaiming this old castle for us alone. Okay, so it seems like they were both kinda terrible people.
It says, Snowflake the pet cat. How cute. This stone is so old and the name's so off. The tombstone says Clara Steiber. This must be the grave of the wonderful maid I've heard so much about. I can't help but notice that it's been emptied. A note.
Great God! Why did I not then expire? Why am I here to relate the destruction of the best hope and the period's creature of Earth? It was mere days ago, at the peak of our bliss, when Clara fell ill. She complained of headaches and tiredness, so I made a bed for her and laid her down to rest. For the next few days, I cared for my companion just as she had cared for me, and nursed her with all of my love and compassion. We believed it was just a passing sickness that would be over shortly. Each morning we thought she was getting better, and each evening we realized she had actually gotten worse. And today, when I entered her bedroom, she was there, lifeless and inanimate, thrown across the bed, her head hanging down and her pale and distorted features half covered by her hair. In horror I beheld the body of Clara, my love, so lately living, so dear, so worthy. I rushed toward her and embraced her with ardor, but the deathly languor Languor and coldness of the limbs told me that what I now held in my arms had ceased to be the Clara whom I had loved and cherished. Alas, what foul curse lies in my gentle touch? I have lost my only child to the darkness, my husband to devouring madness, and now my lover has departed this world as well. Is my love truly as poisonous as my ominous name? Greenhouse. Let's see. Lantern.
This lantern might prove to be the very first thing that actually manages to shed some light on my situation. I'll keep it.
I'll see if I can use the lantern.
I don't know why I thought that would work.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. Take the plant.
A plant, a natural object, standing in a pot, a man-made object. The plant can consume nutrition and grow bigger, and the pot can't. Neither of them can think. So what about me, then? I can think, I know that. But am I natural or man-made?
Another journal.
More letters. Can someone tell me what happened to poor Clara?
Isn't it obvious? Some time has passed since the demise of Clara. As I calm down and regain control over my emotions, it occurs to me that there are some mysterious circumstances concerning her death. The sickness that came over her was swift and sudden indeed. Admittedly, my own medical knowledge is limited, but it still seems to me that such an instant and terminal change in the bodily humor should not occur naturally. Could it be that she somehow ingested something that made her sick? But what? And from that line of thought, it is not a far leap to ponder if she was murdered. It was long ago that I lost track of the details of my husband's deranged research, but I do know he handles lethal substances and obscure chemicals. How easy would it have been for him to slip something into Clara's food? So then, why would he do such a thing? Did he know about our affair? We were very careful, but perchance he guessed it despite our efforts. He would not go so far as to murder based solely on a guess, would he? The distressing truth is, I no longer have any way of telling what Wolfram is capable of. It is of vital importance that these notes never reach any eyes but my own. These are grave accusations I am scribbling down, and in ways of proof I do not even have anywhere to start looking. And yet the possibility is there, gloating in its simplicity. Well, I've almost got all the letters.
Yes, those are indeed boxes.
Mausoleum.
What a marvelous mausoleum. The plaque says, Francisca Canosa. This must be the resting place of the lady from the portrait in the study.
This is crazy. I wasn't intending on this going on this long, but I do really want to see what's going to happen now.
This must be the family cemetery. Yet, baby Lucas rests in an urn in the dining room. Why is that?
It feels like I'm very close to finding out what happened. And I do think I also have a way to get past that cat now. Between the bowl and the milk, I just need to sit it by the fireplace. The fireplace is in a different room though, hold on. I gotta go to the, was it in the living room was the fire? No? Okay, I think the fireplace was in the dinner room. I just wish I could walk faster. I mean, I guess I could fast forward the walking, but most of the time I'm talking through it, so I'll just be like...
I'll let it stand by the fire for a while. It's thawed. The milk is now in liquid form.
Yeah! And now put it in the bowl.
The milk pours easily.
And now to go give it to the cat. I'm probably going to fast forward walking across rooms from now on.
I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if I want to proceed. I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to... I'm not going near
that... bowl of milk!
I'm not going near... I need something else. I don't know why I thought that would work.
What am I supposed to combine the milk
I don't know why
with?
I thought that would... I'm not going near the... Okay, so I can give delicious milk to my fearsome adversary, but why would I want to do that? This creature has nothing but scorn for me. It would just take my milk and keep attacking me afterwards. Unthankful thing.
Okay, so I guess I have to poison the cat. Okay, fast forward to the backyard. And fast forward to the greenhouse. Okay. Aha! How did I not see that?
Belladonna. This little plant has caused a lot of trouble. For a flower, it's not particularly beautiful, but for a murder weapon, it sure is.
Big tree.
It's a large tree. Looks very peaceful. Couldn't I have been reincarnated into one of those instead of being forced back into this mess?
There's another journal page.
A journal page was hiding behind the plant.
Did Wolfram murder poor Clara, or did he not? My situation has reached a point where it hardly makes any difference. I still cannot prove anything, but my conviction of his sin is only growing stronger. I cannot look at his face without seeing a murderer, nor listen to his voice without hearing the words of an evil man. And the coward knows it. He sees the judgment in my eyes, and he shrinks away from it like the rodent he is. Guilty or not, he could not act more like a culprit if he so confessed to his crime in the town square. If he was hiding in his laboratory before, now he practically lives there. We both realized that he lacks the courage to meet my gaze, and after that he simply stopped coming back upstairs. The villain! The fiend! He can rot away in his dungeon, forgotten by the world, his remaining days spent in darkness and solitude. I will not forgive him. How could I, when he has provided me with nothing but misery since the day we met? The living areas of this castle are mine now, and if my husband is incapable of even confronting me, he shall have no benefit from them. Curse my miserable existence! Yes, let me just combine these.
I think I see where this is going. But I'll need to grind the plant into a powder first. Didn't I see a mortar somewhere in the house?
Yeah, you did. Okay, so let's just go back there. Okay, so let's just put this in here.
Let's grind this plant into powder.
Mix it with some milk.
Is this how Clara died?
And now back to the cat. Don't try this at home, y'all.
Yes, this should put an end to the grim reign of this beast.
Mysterious item.
Look, it's a key. And it has a funny tassel attached to it. No wonder the cat wanted to play with it. The animal must have managed to steal a key somehow.
Have I seen anything locked? Journal page.
This is strange. This is Belladonna's signature, but the handwriting is just wrong.
I write to exercise my brain. I find that my thoughts become more firm and solid if I force myself to put them down on paper. And it doesn't matter what I write, as long as I can learn to think again, and to remember. I must try and remember. I have no idea how long I have been this way. A walking corpse, a mimicry of human life. An unmensch. This is all the doings of my despicable husband. He could not be happier. The villain! He got what he wanted, an obedient wife, a beautiful Galatia that exists solely for his pleasure. If only he knew. These notes are the center of my universe, and I keep them well hidden. He doesn't know. He has no idea. The thought has not occurred to him that I might be a thinking being, and I intend to keep it that way. I am slowly and secretly, meticulously pulling my consciousness out of a black void. At first I truly was a mechanical toy, responsive but never proactive, but gradually I began to regain capacity for thought, and I quickly realized that I needed to keep it a secret. These thoughts were now the only things in the world that truly belonged to me. Beginning to think again was horrible, and in many ways even worse than the state of blissful ignorance from which I had just emerged. I only managed to scribble down single disconnected words at a time, more emotions than thoughts, impulses perhaps. My hands and fingers were stiff and clumsy. I remembered cutting myself on the sharp pen once and not being able to prevent the blood flow. I thought that would be the end for me. Surely Wolfram would notice the blood on my hands and get suspicious. But no, the self-absorbed fool merely stitched me up and let me go. I sometimes play with the idea of what I would have to do to prove to him that I am a person. But I won't. The monster has other plans. Okay, this is probably the locked door. Oh, another letter. Also, that sounded like when someone logs in on AOL. As my consciousness grows stronger, so does my hatred for my husband. Each morning he brings me with him to the laboratory and places me in a corner. There I will stand for the rest of the day, still as a statue, silent as death. Occasionally he will throw me a glance or a smile. I find my body smiling warmly back, almost like a reflex, and this indoctrination disgusts me. I am a living decoration, a breathing statue of flesh, his wind-up toy bride. But little does he suspect my eyes are darting across the room, secretly and attentively following his smallest movements. I carefully memorize every step he takes, every note he writes down, every tiny detail of his ghoulish discovery. If only he knew how fast I am learning, what a willing student I am. As of late, he has even picked up the habit of explaining his scientific work aloud. It helps him think, I suppose. And I nod and smile and give little encouraging laughs at all the right places. He is muttering his darkest secrets to me, and I drink it all up. And oh, if only he knew just how close he brushes with his own demise. Hundreds of times each day he is close enough for my hands to reach up and snap his neck. My strong fingers around his throat, slowly squeezing his precious life out of him. But no matter how close he stands, my arms will not move. I am a prisoner in my own corpse, staring out through glassy eyes, but unable to will any action into my own dead limbs. Call for me and I will walk, ask me a question and I will talk, but my rotting brain is unable to form initiatives of its own. I am a golem following orders. Yet each passing night my willpower grows stronger. I write my thoughts down diligently and practice my mental capacities with all the resolve I have. The results are slow but reliable. One day soon I will have the tenacity to strike, and as soon as the time comes, strike I will. One of these days, his lovely life-sized doll will suddenly find the power within her to execute her swift revenge. There's only 2 notes left. Oh, a broken mirror. Wardrobe.
That's a big wardrobe. I bet you could hide a corpse in there. Actually, I better not open it and check. The mirror is completely shattered. I think someone in here didn't really like their reflection.
Let's see. Can I pick up the...
Let's take a look inside.
Oh, a tiny keyhole.
The lid is shaped like a heart and has a tiny keyhole. Whatever's inside must be very precious.
I'm kind of expecting it to be an actual heart.
Rope. I wonder why we're keeping rope in the bedroom.
Is there anything else in here? I don't know what else could be in here. Can I pick the lock?
I don't know why I thought that would work.
It's worth a shot.
That's a big wardrobe. I bet you could hide a corpse in there.
Ugh.
A note.
Failure. The attempt was a failure. I could not turn my lost lover back into her deceased corpse, or lure my lost... Is it lure or learn my lost lover back into her deceased corpse? All my preparations in vain. All alone now. No one to turn my key.
Is she dead? She doesn't move a muscle, yet she sits upright. She's like a mannequin of human flesh. Is she dead? At least the view is nice from up here.
There's one note left, but it looks like I need to find another key or something.
Is she dead?
So is that Belladonna or am I Belladonna? And I don't know what else to look for. Okay, I definitely need to find a key to open that box. Wait a minute. Maybe I have to go all the way back to the,
Thaw the milk, grind the leaves, poison the cat. That was a lot of work to inspect this rather uninteresting ladder. Another portrait. It says her... It's the same name I saw in the mausoleum in the... Look, a perfect sphere.
So there has to be another key somewhere. Maybe the clock knows something.
It's an old clock. Tick tock, tick tock.
I'm going to check the lab again. I'll be back when I get there. Okay, I'm back at the laboratory.
I can't tell if my reflection in the glass is too distorted or if I really look like this. Am I even a human being?
Let's see.
It's a brain in a jar. Now is not the time.
There has to be something in
You look
here.
so lonely, my friend. I'll call you Eva.
I feel like I'm probably Clara and Belladonna's the thing upstairs.
The toolbox is empty.
I don't know where the key could be. Or if there even is one. But there's one letter left. So I'm gonna go back and, I'll be back when I get to another room. Okay, so we're in the dining room.
A big and heavy candlestick. It looks like there used to be two of them.
Yeah, we already sorted that out. Is there anything in the urn?
The name on the plaque is Lucas von Trauerschloss. This must be the ashes of Wolfram's son.
Okay, so it doesn't look like there's anything in there. Maybe check the corpse again?
There's something in his pocket. It's a small, delicate key.
Oh,
He kept it in the pocket closest to his heart. I wonder what it unlocks.
Okay, so the corpse, the key was on his corpse. So now we go back to that bedroom. Tiny keyhole.
I wonder if this key fits.
Better.
There's a key hidden inside. A very important one.
Wind her up. Yeah.
Clara, it really is you. I was so certain I'd never see you again. You didn't wake up.
I woke up. I've been wandering lost ever since, trying to find out what's going on.
How are you feeling? Do you remember me?
I have no memories of you, or of myself. But I found some notes lying around. I can only assume you're the one called Belladonna?
I am Belladonna, murdered and reanimated by Dr. von Trauerschloss. At first a mindless mechanical doll, but I slowly regained control over my brain. And when the time was right, I broke free.
I saw the doctor's body.
Yes, I crushed his skull. Standing over his blood-soaked remains, I was free at last.
But where did I come from? If he was dead, was it you who brought me back?
Yes, my love. You were the only thing on my mind as I stood there, alone and victorious. I had secretly watched the doctor's process, and I desperately wanted to believe that I could get you back. I unearthed your grave and carried your dead body down to the laboratory. I did everything right, to the smallest detail, but you didn't wake up. And my time was running out. I can't turn my own key, and now that I was alone in the castle, I knew my life force would run out quickly. But for all my effort, you remained dead, and with no one to keep me vital, I eventually sat down here and just stopped.
But I did wake up.
Yes, apparently you did. Your body had been in the ground for quite some time. Perhaps that made the reanimation process slower, but with your key powering your brain directly, you did not have to go through the drawn-out, sluggish wake-up. I take it your cognitive powers and language have been with you from the start.
Well, yes.
Excellent. Then I have even improved on the doctor's method, but I doubt independent thinking and free will was ever in his interest to reproduce.
Do you think you could do it again?
Create more of us, you mean? Yes, I hold the secret of life and death, and I plan to use it. The experimentations must continue.
And the two of us will have no place in this world.
Quite right. So, we'll make us a place. Dead bodies will never be in short supply. We'll make more of our kind, a whole new race of the damned.
Where do we start?
I know for a fact that there's a fresh body lying out there in the Great Hall.
The doctor.
His flesh, at least. We won't be using his wretched brain. I've already destroyed it in any case. But the body will do. We will have to find a few other ingredients. Will you help me?
Of course I will.
Thank you, my love. I'll carry the body down to the laboratory and start with the preparations, and in the meantime you can help me with a few other things. The doctor's brain is completely destroyed. I made sure of that. I don't think any of us want his villainous brain back amongst us. We're going to need to find a new one. Secondly, we will also need some clockwork parts. We have to manufacture a force to keep the dead body going. Thirdly, not only the brain, but also the head and the cranium were damaged. If we can find a new head, that would save a lot of the reconstructing effort.
I saw a brain preserved in alcohol down in the laboratory.
Oh, you did? That's good. That, my dear, is the brain of baby Lucas.
What?
Your son?
Lucas was never buried. The doctor had the body cremated very quickly and thus incinerated all the evidence that the corpse was not complete. He had stolen the brain and kept it for himself. I don't know what he claimed about not planning on resurrecting his child, but the truth is that he kept the brain all the same.
And now you want your child back?
No, my dear. It's just a brain. I wanted you back, so I took great care to preserve your personality. But this brain is young and has been dead for very long. I suppose the creation will be my child, in a way, but not my son Lucas.
Clockwork?
Yes, we need something to supply the
Okay,
body
so that's
with the
probably
force
going to be the
move.
grandfather clock.
We can't make the heart beat again, so we use the spring-loaded clockwork. In the future, we'll have to think of a source of parts more reliable than salvaging old-time pieces, but that'll do for now.
I see.
Thank you.
Will we need to find a fresh human head?
Yes, I've smashed up the head of Wolfram rather frivolously. I'm afraid it's beyond rescue. I was thinking of my grandmother, Francesca Canosa. I'm sure you've seen her portrait in the study. She was buried some time ago, but her cranium should be sufficiently preserved. She rests in the mausoleum in the cemetery outside, but there is a hidden way into the tomb behind the armor in the basement.
Seriously?
I'll go take a look behind the suit of armor.
Thank you.
I'll start
Okay.
looking for the objects then.
Thank you. Come talk to me if there's something you're unsure about.
Okay, so this is a really messed up game, but I do want to see it through to the ending, so I'll be back when I get to the grandfather clock. Okay, here we go.
I see a lot of mechanical parts in there. I need to get them out somehow.
Let's try the bone saw.
That won't work.
Okay, let's try the rope.
I don't know why I thought that would work.
Okay, let's try the screwdriver.
This faithful screwdriver will do the trick. Time to turn this old clock into a slightly peculiar wardrobe.
Okay, now I will see you guys when I get to the suit of armor. Here he is, here's Roland.
Belladonna was right. There is a secret switch behind Roland the Poet. It's too dark down there. I won't see my hands in front of me unless I light the crypt up first.
You mean with this lantern?
I can't just drop the lantern into the hole. It's gonna break when it hits the bottom. If there is a bottom.
Okay, let's combine the lantern with the
I'll
rope.
just tie this rope to the lantern. Yes, I can lower the lantern into the hole.
Down we go.
Amazing. I must be directly underneath the mausoleum in the cemetery.
Oh hey, a journal.
I can't believe it. It's another letter. How did it end up down here?
Let's see. After insistent probing from my lady Belladonna, I too take to the pen come evening. The scribbling does not come as readily as it does for her, yet I do most certainly see the appeal in the activity. So much has happened in my life of late, my brain overflowing with joy and secrets and disorder, and if I managed to write down a map of but a fraction of it all, that would be an enormous relief. Verily, it all centers around Belladonna, this queen regent of the castle who has turned her benevolent face towards me, and thus filled my person with happiness I had previously thought unimaginable. I still remember the first time I saw her standing next to her husband, when I took up work in the household, and I remember how she seemed to me to glow. The two of them lost a child shortly after that, and the tragedy would linger in the castle for a long time. All the other servants started to leave one by one, but as much as I wanted to, I found myself unable. I kept postponing my departure with each new day, and I found myself dancing around Belladonna's flame, drawn to it as strongly as I had been from that first glance. By the time she finally recovered from her melancholy, I was the only one left in the castle, and it was at this time that the miracle happened. Belladonna saw me in a new way. This tempestuous affair, galloping and world-shaking, and yet so quiet, so hidden. The castle is ours to rule as we please, but only as long as we do not arouse a suspicion of the grave-robbing goblin in the basement. It is as if I have stepped into one of the fairy stories my grandmother used to tell. Banana stories always ended with someone losing their head or being eaten alive. Though seemingly everlasting this bliss of ours, a seed of doubt is growing in my heart. Belladonna is married after all, and who am I to break their wedlock? Theirs is not a happy union, true, but I am seducing my love to break her vows and soil her soul, and what wretched ruin that will bring upon us. For a long while, Belladonna was all I dreamed about, my queen and goddess, and my deepest wish was for her to let me into her life and let me worship her. I thought I would give up anything for that, but now that I am here, I wonder if I have sacrificed too much. Belladonna comes from high society, and she doesn't realize just how much she takes for granted. It is still clear who the lady is and who is the servant. Who is the lady and who is the servant? Can I keep on living like this, or will I have to do the unthinkable and leave her? I made Belladonna promise not to read anything I wrote, and looking at what I have just put down into the ink, the weight of that promise is clear. I have forged into words thoughts I did not know I had, and it is vital that these pages remain secluded from prying eyes. Secrets upon secrets! I shall hide this letter inside the old armor in the basement, whom I call Roland the Bard, where I doubt anyone will find it. I am descending into that dungeon as soon as I'm done here, and I'll hide this note on my way, as the master has asked me to fetch for him a certain plant from the greenhouse. As strange as this whole situation is, I must still obey his request, if only to keep up appearances. She got the plant that killed her herself?
Here's Francisca's coffin, but the lid is much too heavy for me to lift. Maybe I could break it open, but I need some sort of big hammer or mace for that.
You mean like this candlestick?
Things one does for love.
Yeah.
You look very peaceful, but I do so need your head. How shall I remove it?
Finally, the bone saw.
Tool from the laboratory, perhaps?
Good thing I don't have to go back up there, cause here it is! Bone saw McGraw!
Now to carefully remove the head. It's remarkably well preserved.
Yoink! Yeah. So what's this thing? Bloodstains?
Looks like Belladonna's dragged the body down to the laboratory already.
And here we go! Grab that brain in a jar.
The body of a deranged murderer, the decomposed head of an old lady, the brain of a small child. How could this possibly go wrong?
Oh man. Here we go!
Welcome to the Lab of Horrors.
I have the head.
Francisca's head.
Well done. Just give it to me and I will attach it to the neck.
I have the
I
clock.
took some parts from the old clock.
Well done. Let me put them into the creation.
And I have the
I
brain.
have the brain.
Well done. Please give it to me.
I found something else in the crypt. Another note. One I'd written myself when I was alive. I think we need to talk.
What is the matter, dear?
Let's see how
It's
this goes.
Forget it. It doesn't matter. Let's focus on what we're doing here.
No!
Yes, let's get this creation moving.
I'll get going.
Okay. Nope, nope. Head.
I'll let Belladonna handle that.
Here you go.
Thank you, dear.
Here you go.
Thank you, dear.
Here you go.
The creation is complete. All we need to do now is force life into these dead limbs. That
You are a
next
terrible
ritual
person.
initiates the procedure. Will you have the honor, my dear?
Gladly.
You are a terrible person.
Time has come. I've wanted to pull this thing since the first time I saw it.
Oh man. Oh man.
It's alive.
That doesn't sound like it's alive. I don't oh god. Well, this has been Belladonna. I played through the entire... They even brought back the cat! They revived the cat! Okay, well, this has been Belladonna. This game was really messed up, but fantastic for the horror setting, because it was definitely really, really weird and uncomfortable. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I certainly did. This has been Anashi Sasuke. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.